ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि। भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskars to everyone who are listening to this talk on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I hope you are all keeping well by the grace of God, and I pray that you enjoy the grace of the Mother in health of body and mind. We are in the 6th chapter, the Dhyana Yoga, and until now we have deliberated upon the verse number 6, which reads as Bandhuratma manastasya bandhuratmat manastasya enatmaivatmana jitah anatmanastu shatrutve vartitatmaiva shatruvat. So that Atma is Bandhu, that your friend. For such a person, Atmanaha tasya yena atmaiva atmana jitaha. For whom, by a person by whom this Atman is conquered or won over by his own self. Now, self here very much it means your not physical self, but the subtle self, the manokosha, or the mind antakarana chatushtaya, which consists of your chitta, buddhi, man and ahankar. So for the person who has got his command adhikara, who has conquered his own mind, his own self. For him, for such a person, his own self is his friend. That is the first line of this verse. And but tu, anatmanas, tu means but anatmanah, for the non-self, the self in which is not yourself, means it functions despite you, doesn't obey you, doesn't work in accordance with your will, your wish. That means that mind is not controlled, anatmanah, such anatmanah, which is not yourself, which exists as if differently from you, which is not you, which is not your integrated self, anatmanah. But such a mind, which is uncontrolled mind, in the case of conflict, shatrutve, varteta atma eva shatruvat, it behaves as if it is your own enemy. Varteta atma eva shatruvat, the enemy of yourself, enemy of your own self. So, what does it mean? One who has conquered his mind, who has won over his mind. So, many people in our day-to-day life, you might have come across such kinds of examples. People who have such a kind of dominant personality many a time. So, boasted by their ego, very aggressive, assertive, bulldozing. Many times we find them chiding others about their softness of heart, weakness of heart, and not having that kind of aggression, boldness, or confidence for that matter. Many times confidence is uh, uh, it is qualified by these kinds of traits. We find that, and sometimes it is understood as the confidence. So he is very assertive, he is very confident, and very bold. So we find such kinds of people, and miss that you don't have this much courage, you don't have this much boldness, you are so weak, etc., etc., and uh, uh, you fear so much, and you have no control over your mind. You will hear it will go this discussion, these volleys of assault, they take finally miss this have uh, uh, this idea, it will come into that you have no control over your mind, as if he has, or that such a person has conquered his mind, he has absolute control over his mind. So many people in speaking about our day-to-day life, or in the spiritual parlance also, so we find them that vainly they are making such claims that I have absolute control over your over my mind. New enthusiasts enthusiasts in spiritual life, new spiritualists, many times. So, and very confidently they will say that I am Atman, and this doesn't affect me or anything like that. So, such claims we find. So, idea that nothing is wrong with me, I am perfect. So, what is the idea of victory, the mastery over your own mind? So, next couple of verses, it dwells on that. What is that? What does it mean that one who has conquered his own mind? by his own self. What is the nature, characteristic, the qualities, qualifications of such a mind by which we can, or that person himself can understand that yes, his mind is really well disciplined, or rather, he is progressing in that direction. So, these are the benchmarks, these are the guiding stars. So, we see these ideas in the following verse, the verse number 7, which reads as follows: Jitatmanah prashantasya paramatma samahitah शीतोष्ण सुख दुखेशु तथा मानापमानयोः. So, word by word meaning jitatmanah. So, for such a person, one who has conquered his mind, disciplined his mind perfectly. Jita atmanah, one who has won his own self. Jita atmanah, jitatmanah. So, for such a person, prashantasya, of such person whose mind has become prashantah. It is not momentarily, but it slowly, gradually attains that attribute at is as its general nature. That tranquility, that placidity of the mind, that its outbursts becomes less frequent and they last very little time. Prashantah, mind is becoming calm and quiet. Mind is getting disciplined. Prashantasya, for such a person. Paramatma samahitah, and this is the most important quality, or we can say here the adjective which is used to identify such a mind. Many people by nature, some are aggressive, some are dominant, some are timid, and sometimes many of them are very soft spoken. They never raise their voice and always, so to say, very calm, to the extent that some look like gloomy and depressed, even to that extent. And many times, almost very cynical about the veracity of the things, always in two minds, doubtful, but otherwise very calm. So, whether that person, now we are discussing. So, calmness outside, this is the one thing to be checked. So, whether that mind is disciplined, whether he or she is jitatmanah, prashantah. So, this one quality will define everything. So, the basis of all these virtues must be is this quality, and they must be all rooted into it. All these virtues must be springing forth from this one quality. If it is lacking, then all these virtues, they does not amount to spirituality. So this virtue, what it is named here, Paramatma Samahitah. Paramatma, maybe Ishvara, form of Ishvara, or whatever mode of yoga according to his own constitution, according to his own mental or psychological, what you say, inklings, his inclinations, his tendencies, according to his own nature. So, of his own choice, whatever form of approach, that is yoga, he is following Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Raja Yoga, or any combination of these. So, most common. So, let us talk about Bhakti Yoga and for Jnana Yoga, for example. So, Paramatma Samahita, that his mind is always Samahitaha, is it would mean that it is one with the God. But for the sake of practicality, for the ordinary people who is always remembering God, dependent on God, constantly surrendering to Him, that consciousness, that awareness is always alive, bright, and effulgent in his own heart. Now, Paramatma refers to that Shuddha Chaitanya Atma. This is which is an individual consciousness, Paramatma, which is Param, which is the highest, refers to the ultimate or the consciousness, what we call Brahman or Shuddha Atma, Chaitanya Upadhi Rahit Atma. So, but activity cannot go along in that state. So, naturally, that person's mind, so naturally it means, so when activity is going on, when all other, he is not in that state of oneness, so naturally that it means that his mind is tuned, oriented towards that truth, towards that consciousness within. And it would be the state of Jivan Mukta Paramhansa Mahapurush, who sees not only consciousness, who realizes it within, but without also. So, as Sri Ramakrishna says it, that whether God exists only when you close your eyes, whether He exists only then, meaning that He also exists when you are opening your eyes. The consciousness which the Chaitanya, Shuddha Chaitanya, which is present within you, because of which this you are having the experience of life, you are alive. That life of life, that is Shuddha Chaitanya. You are having knowledge, you feel you exist, you are having experience, Sat, Chit and Ananda. That is the true nature of that consciousness, of that Atman, existence, that you are alive, you are there, you exist. You never ever experience that you do not exist. It is not possible. You are having knowledge, buddhi dwara, buddh means to know, gyayate, but without Chaitanya, you cannot know. You cannot have the knowledge. The knowledge of knowledge is that Chit Chaitanya. You are having experiences of Sukha, Dukkha, Ananda, Harsha, Amarsha. The experience of that, the soul of that experience is ultimately that Chaitanya, Atma. So, that consciousness, that Satchit Ananda Swarupa Atma, it is closest within you, because with your mind, with your intellect, as you try to know, it is closest within your heart. When that person absolutely realizes it, so slowly with his experience has become solidified, consolidated, crystallizes, and vagueness is removed, so that person can see unbroken experience of consciousness within or without. This difference will be almost to the degree of obliteration. As Sri Ramakrishna said it in the Vachanamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, that as if you draw a line with a stick on the surface of water, how temporary it is. So the consciousness is not divided within and without, yours and mine, of or any individual, living or non-living. So, but the absolute pure experience can only be had in samadhi. So the person who once comes down from samadhi, he has that indelible, unshaken experience, and this world appears dream. Sardananji Maharaj in Leela Prasanga, he says these things with respect to spiritual progress. So all these virtues, that pavitrata, vivek, vairagya, tyag, indriya sanyam, mana ekagrata, all these they will increase, and this world start to appear like a dream. The person then there is no doubt, when that person experiences such a thing, that this world, then the experience of the world, which is so real for us, for real for anyone, then its basis is removed. Then truth becomes the dominant, and this becomes the dream. Paramatma samahitaha. That such a person, so that might be the experience of the soul who has attained the highest. What about the people, the spiritual aspirants who are slowly trying to progress, trying to advance in that direction? So it will move in that direction. That world will lose its hold on your mind to afflict you, to make you unseated. Paramatma samahitaha. So, Ishvara parayanataha. The idea of worshipping God, idea of bhakti, so as Sri Ramakrishna says, like Ishwara Avatara is like an window. If it is not open, you cannot see from the place where you are confined. And when it is opened through that window, when you have the window, you can see you are connected to the infinity. You are pursuing the infinity. Your window is the medium. Window connects you to the infinity. The pursuit of this consciousness, the pursuit of spirituality, this is Adhyatma. This is spiritual life. So, while we are devoted, Sri Ramakrishna, as he says in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, in the opening pages, you will see Master Mahashay, that he does not believe in idol worship. And in that context, Sri Ramakrishna opens his mind that no devotee ever worship that metal, that stone or wood of whatsoever form, that idol of his chosen deity, Ishta Devta or Ishwar or Bhagwan, whomsoever he called God. He does not worship the material. When God can be seen, worshipped in the form of a stone or metal or wood, he is worshipping, he is that pursuing that Chaitanya only, that consciousness only, that alone is God. This is form of God, as if God possesses this form. He can take any form. But that form is not the whole of God. God can become everything, any form. We worship that form where that Chaitanya is explicit to the highest degree. In Upanishad says, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. Our mind cannot hold on, grasp the Shuddha Chaitanya Brahman, because it goes beyond mind. Avang Manasa Gocharam, beyond words and mind. Mind cannot comprehend, it cannot fall within the arena of the mind or words or thoughts. Mind cannot hold it. So mind can only as much as hold, which could be the best possible reading of it. This is the language Swami Vivekananda used, that Saguna Sakar Ishwar, personal God, is the highest reading of that absolute truth. Like through that window, you are trying to reach the infinity. That is the personal God. That's why Sri Ramakrishna says he doesn't have any confusion. He said that to what they say Brahman, Vedas say Brahman, to it I say as mother. He has no confusion. That Brahman and Kali, Shakti are Abhed. It is the one and the same thing. The fire and its burning power, can they be separated? The milk and its whiteness, can it be separated? No, they cannot exist. You cannot have that idea, conceptualize that. You cannot make any dharana of it. It is impossible, one without other. So, we worship that God, which is Shuddha Brahma Paratpara Ram, like in we say in the Ram Nam Sankirtan, that we are worshipping that Ram whose whole life is enumerated in 108 names. So, which is Shuddha Brahma, which is Kalatmaka Parameshwara also, and which also is born to Mother Kaushalya and Raja Dasharathji. He goes to forest, goes to fight Ravana. He kills Ravana. He marries Sita, etc. But Shuddha Brahma Paratpara, that Ram we worship. Like here in the 5th chapter, that verse again and again, that Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropi san prakrutim swam adhishthaya sambhavami atmamayaya. If you remove this part of this Shuddha Brahma, like in Sri Ramakrishna Nam Sankirtan also, Parabrahma Parashakti Jagadrupa Ramakrishna. This is how we start. So then all this Gadadhar's Leela and everything that is enumerated, like in Ram Nam Sankirtan, Rama's life is enumerated. But if we do not have this concept, and if we just see as matter, then it will not be spirituality. For to be it spiritual, the awareness, the consciousness of that it is spirit, that you are pursuing that consciousness, that is must. If you remove Shuddha Brahma Paratpara or Parabrahma Parashakti from Ramakrishna, then it is just like any other material. It will like be worshipping the stone, worshipping the metal, worshipping the wood. It would not be worshipping the God. We do not worship any other Ramakrishna, one which is Parabrahma, Parashakti, Jagadrupa, Ramakrishna. It is that tattva that we follow. Meaning that in the case of Bhakti Upasana, this is important to see our mind has not in the form of while repeating the japa or doing our rituals or bhakti. We have to check that we are not becoming materialistic material worshipper. This is a great trap, pitfall in practicing bhakti. One devotee must become aware. So I am worshipping Sri Ramakrishna, which is nothing other than the Shuddha Chaitanya, the Ansharupena, which I experience in my own heart. That Atma, that Chaitanya, that Ishvara, and that Avatara, Ramakrishna, that is one and the same. And that Ramakrishna is closest here in my heart. So, in spiritual practice, it is antagonist to all our other behaviors. Because they are all outgoing, they are pursuing matter, jada, vishaya. Whether your doors of your sense organs are open or closed, even if your eyes are closing, thinking, it is always outgoing, pursuing the jada, pursuing the vishaya. Whereas what is spiritual is pursuing, following the chit, Chaitanya. And jada and Chaitanya cannot be one. There cannot be any similarity. As in Adha's Bhashya, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, Tamah prakashavat viruddha swabhava. That like darkness and light, they are of the completely of opposite character. So, the pursuit of consciousness, chit, and where it can be best experience, the best proof and best experience is you yourself. You are alive. That Chaitanya, it can be immediately experienced within. You are thinking being, you are experiencing being. That Chaitanya is immediate. That's why we meditate in our heart. That's why all our spiritual pursuits are of the tendency of moving our forces within. And pursuit of the matter is all they are outgoing, following the Vishayas outside. Paramatma Samahitaha. So the mind is oriented within, Antarmukh. Vishaya, not Vishay Abhimukh, Vishay Vimukh, that mind. So, because this state, the description of the soul of the person who are describing, we are Bhagavan Sri Krishna is teaching to Arjuna yoga, and this chapter which is deals with the mental discipline part of it, dhyana yoga. So it is not that it is expected, is understood that this person is engaged in action, engaged in activity. So it is possible, it is Bhagavan is advocating Arjuna to fight war, and this is the ideal he is placing before him. So wherever we may stand, however our mind might be, this is the path ahead, and it is possible. It is not the question of whether or not we would be successful. It is just the question of time. So a devotee, a yogi, a spiritual aspirant, he should not have any doubt in his mind. So what he or she is supposed to do? This is possible, and we must, with all of our mind, our vigor, our energy, and absolute trust and faith, we must pursue this ideal. Paramatma Samahita, devoted to Ishvara Parayana, for that example. So, with such a mind, he would be doing his duties. He is carrying out his daily responsibilities. Jitatmanah Prashantasya Paramatma Samahitah, whose mind is such oriented, fixated on that Chaitanya within, Paramatma Samahitah. And such a, because unless this is comprehended well within our own heart, so other things, the things which are following, they will not make any sense. So such a person of such an attitude, who firmly believes this idea that Ishwar is alone Vastu, the truth, and rest is everything mirage, Baki sab avastu, as Sri Ramakrishna said in the Gospel. How firm is his belief, how firmly he trusts in that, how much he is willing to commit to it and moderate first his own psyche, whether he or she accepts it. Forget about the behavior practicing of it. Ishwar ekmatra vastu and baki sab avastu, or baki sab avastu. That God alone is real, else everything is unreal. It is transient, it is ephemeral, it is for the time being, for the time being. Time itself is not constant, is the construct of the mind. When mind vanishes, time vanishes, everything vanishes. Everything is subject to change. Nothing is going to remain constant, unchanged. As it was constructed, as it was formed, it is subject to change, it is subject to deteriorate, it is subject to go to destruction. It is the nature. So pinning our hopes on it, thinking it, taking things for granted that they will last forever as it is, nothing will. So having a, unless this person have formed very clear idea, very, and given his mind for manana, Shravana first, understanding it, then manana, correlating it, and then the nididhyasana, the practice of it. Then only comes the question of success or failure, whether he is able to do or not. His sanskaras, his pravrittis, slowly then only comes the question of walking the path, winning over his own weaknesses, removing his or her own faults, everything. The real transformation, the real change can only come after that. But if there lies a crack, if there lies a gap in first, we have there is reservation, first accepting the very fundamental premise of it, that Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. Then if there lacks a commitment, then what results we can expect? Now, this person. So this is very fundamental premise of spiritual life. Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, Bhagwan Shankaracharya said, in half a verse, I will tell the essence of all Shrutis. This is what is the truth. Sri Ramakrishna repeated it in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Now, what other qualities the person who has conquered his mind, who is Jitatmanah, Prashantah, and Paramatma Samahitah, and now these ideas, Shitoshna Sukhadukkeshu. Shita Ushna. So, literally means Shita, which is cool, Ushna, which is hot, then Sukha and Dukkha. Sukha, which is a comfort, pleasure, and Dukkha, which is misery, sorrowful. Tatha mana apamana yoho. In when in glory or in insult, in honor and dishonor, in pleasure and pain, in cold and heat. So this person remain unchanged. Now, such person, what does it mean? It remains unchanged. If it is not that he does not experience, otherwise there would be no meaning to say that. It is happening, Shita and Ushna. Like it is not, this idea has to be extended. It is not only physical experience of cold and heat. It is or pleasure and pain. These dualities, these duets of nature are mentioned. So there are experiences of ups and downs, thick and thins. So in all these kinds of duets of life, so he remains changeless. This actually this word it comes in the following verse, that reference to the changelessness. So here it is said that in all these conditions. So what it is said in the next verse, that is Kutastha, that he remains changeless. So it does not affect him. He does not feel it cold or hot, or somebody is trying to respect him or insult him, or something which is pleasurable or painful. So does he not? He has, of course, realization. He has, of course, the knowledge of it. He is having knowledge of it. It is not as if he is dead. He or she is dead. Things are around. They will happen around us. Unless that person is such a disciplined mind, that his mind is such fixated, turned inward, and thereby attain that prashantihi, that placidity of the mind, that tranquility of the mind, that calmness of the mind, coming from that Paramatma Samahitah, from that Ishvara Parayanata. He is able to successfully negate or ignore the importance of these things, that things may happen as per the course of the nature, as per my prarabdha, not to lose my mind after it. Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Mana and Apamana. We immediately try to embrace something which is probably happier, pleasurable, which glorifies you and gives attention to you, and it pinches us when it is otherwise. Apamana, Dukkha. So it is not that this person is dead. He is like a stone wall. Nothing affects him. He is able to successfully, due to his tapasya, his sadhana, of his constant enterprise, of his practice, of repeating, of delving on this truth, that this only this Sat Chit Ananda, this Pure consciousness is alone the changeless factor. That am I. I am that. That alone is the truth. I am one with that God. In the form he pursue it in the form of God or in the form through any approach. Through by that I mean Jnana Yoga or Raj Yoga. He trains his mind so that reality becoming slowly clearer and it catches roots. It try to become. It is not mere intellectual understanding. It becomes his experience slowly, that he is able to sustain this onslaught of different contrasting experiences and does not let his mind afflicted by it or get distracted by it, get robbed by it. It is the result of the practice, constant practice of Ishvara Parayanata, Paramatma Samahitaha, doing japa and dhyana. Again and again, he is pursuing that truth alone, that Brahman, Satya, Jagat Mithya, Chit, what Swami Vivekananda put it, Atmaiva hi prabhavate na jada kadachit. That jada will never win over. That Atman, that Chaitanya alone will prevail. So everything is jada. Your mind, your ahankara, your chitta, buddhi, all your experiences, they are matter, they are jada, they are not Chaitanya. So all your experiences of Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Mana, Apamana, they are jada, they are not Chaitanya. Agama Paino Nitya, they will come and go. Tan Titikshasva Bharata. Do you remember this verse? It comes in the second chapter. That they come and go, Agama Apayinaha. Anitya. Tan Titikshasva Bharata. Hey Bharata. Forbear them. Mother, glorifies this virtue, forbearance. Sa. She says this is the highest virtue. Forbearance. This Titiksha. And Titiksha, it must be rooted in this idea of Paramatma Samahita. Then only it becomes spiritual. Otherwise, it is going to backfire at some time or other, that it will cause a lot of that entrapped energy, and it will sometime it will burst like a volcano. That you are forcefully trying to suppress your reaction. So mind is going to find out some way or other to vent out that steam. But the ideas, the experiences, which are thus, their all effectiveness is blunted by this spiritual discipline, by negating them and turning your mind in this idea that you are trying to experience this veracity of this truth, that you are Chaitanya, you are not Jada. That this alone is real, everything will come and go, it will fall down, it will eventually disappear. Something new may start. But this Chaitanya, this true self, is going to remain changeless, constant as ever. So, this is the idea that when the conquered mind, the disciplined mind, this is the very fundamental, the most important quality of this subject matter we are dealing with, Paramatma Samahitaha. That rooted in God, oriented toward God, That is spiritual. When it is pursuing the spirit, not matter. Pursuing the chit, chaitanya, not jada, vishaya. So such a person, one who is able to do that, that person has indeed, in the next verse it is said, jnana vijnana truptatma. Sri Ramakrishna used to use these words very in his example. One of he says, whenever there is a gyan, there is a agyan also. Whenever there is knowledge, there is ignorance also. One has to go beyond both knowledge and ignorance and attain that vijnana. So what is this vijnana means? Maharaj also, Swami Swarupananji, he puts it here. Jnana is knowledge. Knowledge like knowledge of the Shastras, what is said in the Gita or Upanishads. And Vijnana is one's own experience of the teachings of the Shastras. That what you have realized, that is Vijnana. What is your experience, what you have become, now that is Vijnana. It is not that I believe this is truth, what you have become. Now that is something else. That is Vijnana. This person, after thus practicing Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, by practicing this, by Nididhyasana of this, Shitoshna, Sukha Dukkeshu, Tatha Mana Pamanayo, that this knowledge that I am Atman, I am Chaitanya, and practicing it thus, being Paramatma Samahitaha, practicing in this form, Shita, Ushna, Sukha Dukkeshu, Tatha Mana Pamanayo, in honor and disrespect, by remain constantly. So this person has indeed jnana vijnana truptatma. He has become trupta. He has to his heart's content. He has drank this nectar of jnana and vijnana. It means he has really digested. He has really understood the secret of the teachings of this shastra, of this truth of the scriptures. That what does it mean that I am Chaitanya and not Jada? Because he has practiced it successfully. Jnana Vijnana Truptatma. That such a person, now his quietude, his calmness, his serenity of the mind is coming from the digestion of this truth. He has well assimilated it. He has become it. He has become that, he has brought in that real transformation, that change. It is not here now anymore. He is acting like it. It has become his nature. Jnana Vijnana Truptatma. Kutastha. That Kutastha, that is changeless. Nothing perturbs him now. World is always full of these duets, these contrasting experiences of joy and sorrow. But they do not, he knows that, he understands that. Of course, they do not disturb him. They do not unsettle his mind. Do not upset him in his constant orientation, orientedness into the Atman, into the Chaitanya. Does not make him unseated. He is constantly grooved into that Kutastaha. And that person can alone be said as Vijitendriya. That person can be said as he has really conquered his senses. And that person, Yukta Ityuchate, to such a person can be called as Yukta. He is the master yogi. He is the master yogi. Yukta Ityuchate yogi. So that person is perfectly connected, well connected, established, yukta, iti uchyate. It is said he is yogi, and such a person, sama loshta ashma kanchana, that lump of earth, ashma stone, and kanchana gold, they are of same value to him. So this idea that a stone may be a valuable stone or gold or mere a lump of clay, as it may affect the avishayi, the person who has not mastered, who has not disciplined his or her own mind, they might affect. Whereas yogi, he knows the distinction between these three. It is not that he is oblivious to their value, what they can do or what it can cause. He can very well understand that world is mad after it, but it does not penetrate his heart. He might very well deal with it as he may please, but it does not occupy any place in his heart. He remains changeless. In this regard, I suddenly remembered one incident that Trailangya Swamiji, he was living in Kashi, Varanasi. He lived many years. So very disputed ideas. Some people say 300 years, even like that. But he was indeed that Jivan Mukta Brahmagnya Mahapurush. There is no doubt about it. And whole Kashi, they knew Trailangya Swamiji Maharaj. So sometime what happened? So there was a market, and one person, he was selling milk products like butter or something like that, and he liked, Trailangya Swamiji liked how the way he was selling that butter, and he said to the person that I will do it. Trailangya Swamiji is saying to him that I will do it. So he was, everybody respected him. He said, yes, Swamiji, very well. It is my great fortune. So he is a fresh butter. And then he sat at the place of the shopkeeper, that person, with his big pot of that butter. And people, they are asking of the different volume. Maybe somebody 500 gram or 200 gram or more than that. And accordingly, so he's or something giving some money, maybe whatever that time, 5 rupees or 10 rupees are accordingly. But Trailangya Swamiji, what he's doing, he's taking money. They are all giving different amount, but he is giving the same amount of butter to everyone. So it is very difficult. So because how the world operates, that impression, those ideas are long wiped out from the heart of these people. So naturally, though it is not that he cannot distinguish between butter or stone or anything, he has little bit knowledge, but his mind is not functioning like a shopkeeper, that for the different amount you have to give the different amount of the volume of the butter or the whatever the product. He is not thinking in that form. He liked the way he was doing. He also wanted to do that. So he is taking money and giving butter, means nicely, means measuring whatever it is happening, he's giving the same thing to everyone. So the idea of samaloshtashma kanchanaha. So we will take a break here, and we will, if possible, we will take this idea in the next class a little more, and then proceed further. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.